Welcome, friends, to another live conversation on ALLATRA TV. Today we have a very special guest with us. But before I introduce her, I would like to remind our viewers that today we will find out more about our guest, what she do, and her vision of a creative society. So what is a creative society? A creative society is a project on a platform of ALLATRA International Public Movement. And you can learn more about the project by visiting ALLATRAunites.com, where you can learn more about the goal of the project. And it's a global project where we, volunteers of different countries, are asking everybody around the globe, how do they envision a creative society? A society where everybody is happy, a society where everyone lives a fulfilled life, a society where everybody feels safe and at peace. So today, our special guest is Susan Ibitz, and she is a human behavior hacker, and we will ask her what it is. So welcome, Susan.
Hi, Olga. Thank you very much for having me. I know I give you a hard time because it was a crazy week. Sorry.
That's okay. We're glad you're here. And if you could tell us, please, how did you get started and what exactly do you do?
Well, a human behavior hacker is a term that I never heard before. It's like my own invention, and actually was given to me by a friend. When it says, I always ask this to friends and customers. I ask 3 questions. If you need to talk about me, what you would say. If you're my sales rep and you need to sell me what you sell, and what is the pain pill that I fix for you? And it started having a correlation like, well, you start hacking my team, putting my team together. Now we can profile clients in 90 seconds and not 90 minutes. And one of my friends says, well, you're a human behavior hacker. I'm like, yes, some people hack computers, I hack humans. And that's how it started. And it's been a success because nobody else used the name. And what I do is specialize for the last 28 years in different areas and arenas on face reading physiognomy that has been among us for 5,000 years. I do stemming analysis, analyzing the words even in an email, text message, or in a conversation. Forensic analysis to determine what is, for example, the gender, the age of a person writing an email if they don't sign it, for example, anonymous letters. I do body language, that's what your body says even when you don't want to, and micro expression, there are 7, happen in a flash of the eye in your face, and I specialize in personality types too, because some of the people have problems with their teams because they have different way to wire the brain. So people is not trying to drive you crazy. Our preference, depending the pressure, the work we do, and the place that we are different. So when you know that, no, it's not trying to drive me crazy, it's just different, take a lot of pressure out of people. And so that's the reason I'm the only one who put in all the specialties together, because we consider in human behavior lab that if you don't have all the pieces, a house fall apart. So that's the reason we do all together.
Wow, this is so interesting, so great. And I forgot to introduce myself. My name is Olga, and also my co-host is Slava, and he is tuning in all the way from Sydney, Australia. So Slava, go ahead.
Hi Olga. Hi Susan. Very nice to meet you guys here. Yeah, it's very interesting what Susan just told her shortly about herself briefly, but I just wanted to ask if, can you tell us a little bit more about the collage of pictures we just have prepared? Yeah, please bring
Sure, if we can have the IT team bring it up, and if you can see it.
I cannot see most of the pictures. Okay, one of the pictures, yeah, see, I can see when I have the brooch. I always wear a brooch. My friend says that I stole my grandmother's clothing. One of them, it's me teaching, giving a guest lecture on the Loyola University, then I teach. Another one was keynote speaking, then I did on human resource conference. The other one, I was invited to Tech Talk. I didn't do a Tech Talk. Actually, I was supposed to have one this year who was canceled due to the pandemic. The other one is a presentation that I did in a center, and the one, the bottom low, I cannot see it.
Okay. It's you holding a frame. Is that what the one you cannot see?
No, the one on the right, the lower, on the opposite side. I can't
Oh,
see
you
that.
know what? It's your radio show that you do. Is that something that you do as well?
Oh, that was one of the things that blew my mind last year. The Kids Tank is a project happened in Wisconsin. Wisconsin happened with Geneva Supply, with instead to, when they start growing and become success, instead to put the money in the bank, they start this amazing project when they bring people who either never went to college or explain that you have another ways to become successful besides to go to college. And I have the honor to be invited. And after I did a face reading of the owner of the company and I talked to the guys, they have their own podcast show. And that is now I get the image. Yes, it was in the podcast show. So that's my little collage. My two on the top are my teaching on Loyola Masterclass in criminology.
That's
Yes,
great.
yes, very
Go ahead, Slava. Did you have a question?
I also just wanted to ask, how important do you think is to communicate with people live, to have open communication with people?
Well, the concept of open communication is, I always say, what is your dictionary? For example, we are different nationalities, different states, and even different continents here. And we can have a better communication than I can have to my neighbor next door, because our dictionary can be different. I was talking with somebody last week and he's in South America and keeps saying, we're going to do a webinar. We're going to do a webinar. Like, no, it's a meeting. Well, it's the same. Like, no, a meeting is one thing and the webinar is another thing. So open communication is advise that if I say something that you don't understand or not make sense, can you ask me again and maybe ask me another way? Because I'm going to do the same, because we have different dictionary. My background, my studies, the way my brain works, the way I interact with other people, the friends I have, the relationship I have are related to my work. So I don't say, let's do a feedback, let's debriefing. Debriefing is used in military, it's used in police. When I say to my friends like, okay, so let's debrief about that. And they look at me like, Susan, we're having a drink. I'm sorry, yeah, tell me about it. So it's about dictionary. Open communication is being forgiving about not understanding other people, is being polite, asking what you don't understand as many times needed to do it, and be more resistant to people is not, you don't know how everybody's doing. People may put a face, a smile, but they don't doing well during this time. So be polite, being understanding. Open communication has to do like, how you doing? But no, don't tell me you're good. How you really doing? And when somebody says something you don't understand or make you mad, put some distance and says, what about the context? And don't flip around by going crazy and cursing people, because you don't know what is going on in each people's life. I think that is open communication.
Yeah, I agree. That's very important. And also, Susan, can you also tell us, like, what you do is actually you help sales team and you have help marketing teams. But, you know, one of the questions we had on LinkedIn, someone has mentioned, how do you think important it is to teach what you are teaching to the younger kids? Maybe have it at the public, you know, school level. How important it is to know what you're teaching just growing up, not all of a sudden when you're adult and faced with that, right?
I think it should be obligatory on at least high school, when people have maturity to know how to use it, to understand, because we will be avoiding bullying, we'll be avoiding abuse, we'll be avoiding people not to know how to talk and want to talk. When you know, and you know what is going on. For example, one of the things that I tell to the sales rep is like, remember they told you mirror everyone? Don't do it, because you don't know what you're mirroring. So what do you think is a smile and actually is a contempt? That's meaning that you are mirroring, then I'm disgust to you, now you disgust to me. This conversation is over. So when people says mirroring, it's like you need to know what you're doing and how you're doing. So body language, micro expression, and a statement analysis should be obligatory and at least high school. Because when you need to present a test, when you need to have your first job interview, how you represent yourself is the first impression. And even though sometimes first impression has nothing to do with you. I have a class when after 4 hours, one of my students says, I don't like your perfume, so I don't like the class. Like, what? So doesn't matter. He didn't like my perfume, so he didn't pay attention to my class. So those are first impressions too. But imagine how easy would it be your life to go to the supermarket, to open an account on the bank and read the other person and control your own body. Because you cannot talk about how other people is doing until you don't control. People who use glasses, we tend to do this because the glasses fell with the makeup or sweating. So what happened, that is disgust or dislike. So if I cannot identify the difference between using glasses and dislike because you don't have the context, you just can ruin a relationship. So I deeply, deeply believe that this should be taught. Thank God some universities are start to understand it. But the truth to be told is from 1,000 MBAs in United States that has to do with business, 16 of them talk about sales. None of them talk about behavior and science to apply to sales. So we're expecting high school teaching body language. We're way behind. Some universities will start thinking that is so important because AI and now the interaction, how to understand, we use in science, but still we're way behind until somebody start develop a curricula where like, we're gonna teach this person how to get it on the real world, not under a box.
Wow, this is so great. Yes, I do agree that, this is the life skill that everybody needs to have because we are communicating with people every single day. And no matter if it's, like what we're doing right now by Zoom communication or if it's, with your kids one-on-one, it's very important to know. And Susan, I have a question. So do you think we as a civilization advanced enough to know who we are? Or do we still have ways to learn more about ourselves?
Last week, I did a podcast and somebody says, can you give a word of wisdom? Like, no. And they look, why? Because I'm not dead. So until then, I still learning. I only 48. My two grandmothers live around 100, so I have 52 more years to be learning. That's when I'm going to assess wisdom, because the devil know more from being old than being the devil. So I think the first thing is never, ever believe that you know everything. Anyone that you met is an expert in something that you are not. Curiosity is one of the things who keep civilizations evolving and developing. Curiosity is what makes your toaster nicer than the one the neighbor have. Curiosity is what makes us to move to horses to cars, to invent the wheel, to invent a computer, to having a roof, to inventing clothing, fashion. Everything was about to be curious. So as a society, ask questions. We have a society, not personally, because I was raised with that respect. We lost the respect of the elderly. The boomer generation is wasting our time on the company. Like, wait, you're young, you have a lot of energy, but without the experience, you're going to be crashing against the wall and crashing the company. So as to the elderly, even though some of the stories can be boring, there's things that only get passed with experience. Talk to people, then do things that you don't do. Even has nothing to do with your job, you're always going to learn something. My neighbor loved gardening, and I found out that I don't need to cut my grass. I need to plant golf grass, and I don't need to cut it. But if I would have talked to him, that would have nothing to do, I wouldn't find out. So as a society, we are losing the curiosity to know who are you instead, oh, you bother me.
So where do you think this curiosity is really going to, and how can we deviate the attention to get back to, being that child that's curious about the world?
Mackenzie says the number one skill needed in 2030 is going to be curiosity. Why? Like I told you, I have a keynote speaker and says, are you a toaster? And it says, I put 2 toasters. And says, what is the difference? This would cost $300. This is $15 in Walmart. They do the same. but it's how it's designed, how we see it. So one of the problems that as adult we lost is making questions. A kid who is 4 years old do around 394 questions a day. An adult do less than 20. We are afraid to ask questions. We are afraid to look like we don't know what we're doing. And actually, managers says when a person does an internship or go on a trial period on a job, they tend to hire the ones who make more questions, meaning they want to learn. They are curious. So how will you exercise this? Every time they says, and you stop, like, go for it. Like, Olga, like, we talk like where you are located. Now I know where you're located. How is your family? What you do for work? I know Slava where is located, what his part on the team. So I was curious to know about you. So the same way we establish communication, let's be curious about things that can be better, because again, the person who invented the ventilator has saved a lot of people in this COVID-19. So the people who is researching and being curious how many type of COVID-19 we have is the same how we need a vaccine, we need a vacuum. How we gonna, that is people who's curious to know more beside what you do for a living. So I'm curious, I'm monkey curious. It's one of the reasons that I am where I am is because I'm a monkey curious. That's the basic knowledge that put me where I am today. So be curious, please, and be weird too.
Yeah, thank you, Susan. Also, I wanted to ask, what kind of society is? What do you think? What kind of society is happy people? What prevents us from living in that kind of society? What we can do? What each of us can do to live in that kind of society? What do you think?
Well, that will be a question maybe for a sociologist and a psychologist and just a gal with a couple of certification. It would be unfair to give worldwide drop mic advice. Personally, what makes me happy is Monday morning when I need to go to work. I do not understand how people can do something they don't love. Doing something that you love every day, that's make you happy. Watching my pets make me happy. Feeding my deers on my background make me happy. Tomorrow we have an online birthday party with a friend who I haven't seen in 6 months for this pandemic, make me happy. I'm not saying that you're going to spend 24/7 happy, but treasure those moments who has to do with quality. We are so worried about what is the greenest backyard on the neighbor that we don't realize that the other neighbors looking in our backyard. Actually, I was talking with one of the people on the team. Is like, you know what? It's like the other guy have a small house and look like mine is bigger, but I look at the other one is bigger than mine. But I don't understand if the other guy want my house. So every time that we have more, we want more. And like, what is more? What else do you need? I have 600 pair of shoes. Really? Do I need more? No, I cancel I'm not buying more shoes, I buying books only because that make me happy. So happiness sometimes is like simple thing. When people do videos, one of the things that I advise is put a happy place. And people says, what is a happy place? The picture of the kids that you want to send to college, the pair of shoes that you're going to be wearing, because you can buy it after this call, the next vacation, and after that picture, that main happy place. So every time that you are not, oh my God, another video, put a bucket list. What it means then I go through one more video call. And another advice, when you feel down and you need to keep doing this crazy about videos, it's proven that watching pets, especially cats first, pets second, and blooping third, it's elevate your oxytocin. Oxytocin is what we produce when we are happy. So you can make yourself happy to go through this painful situation that everybody's like 24/7 in video. So my concept of happiness is what is happiness for you? For me is that my family is safe. Then I wake up, I watch my backyard, having a coffee, and pick up the phone and start working.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, it's so important to find what happiness really means to each person. And right now we're going to move to the second part of this interview, and we will ask you a question about Creative Society. And the Creative Society is a project on the platform of ALLATRA International Public Movement, where we go out and ask people around the globe, how do they envision a creative society where everybody lives a fulfilled life, where there is peace and where there is safety? How do you envision that global society for all of us?
Again, asking questions. We need to stop thinking for other people. Like, I want to know what you're thinking, go and ask. Again, curiosity. Again, civilization evolved by being curious. To says, okay, what about if we start cooking that thing they're growing on the earth? And now we have French cuisine. Thank God for that. People grab grapes and make it wine. Thank God for that too. So I think there is no society who can evolve without people who helping us to go to the future. When I talk and train to managers and says, historically, all the debacles who happen around worldwide, the way we get through is when we says, okay, we are in this situation. Let's think on the future. 9/11, 2008, the depression in the 90s, all the wars we have, the way that leaders and companies went through and societies went through is when we can follow a future. So I says, people, good, put things in your calendar in 2 months that has to do with going outside, learn something new, start doing gardening, start doing something, think on the future. If we do these baby steps, I always says, if I can make happy the lady on the cashier in the supermarket because I have a good day, that is my collaboration to the world. I'm not going to be curing cancer. I'm not going to be the person developing the COVID-19 vaccine. But if that woman who's been working on the cashier may be mistreated, suddenly have a smile, and you know what is the reality, that is my part on the world. I will not going to expect you to cure hunger. I cannot do it. I'm not capable. But I do capable to make my next door neighbor better, the person on the bank, and everybody that I interact smile for the day.
This is great. And how do you envision using what you're teaching people every day, the human behavior hacking? How do you envision that in the future? Can we take it globally? Can we use it in all spheres of life? What is your vision for, the concepts you're already teaching people?
I think that it's funny because I was listening to Simon Sinek saying that people is craving human interaction more than ever. Like they didn't understood how important and they didn't value the human interaction until they lost it. So I spent the last 4 months teaching people how to do body language for video, themselves, and how to better communicate with others, how to use hands and how important. And other things that I do is I teach people how to read faces with masks. Everybody freaked out. We talk about that like, oh my God, I'm not going to see your face with the mask. Wait a minute. What do you prefer to see, the mouth or the eyebrows? Cover your face with a mask, go to the bathroom and start laughing, be surprised, be afraid, be mad. So everything that I need to know about you and how you feeling happen on the eyes and the forehead. So covering the mouth is not a problem. Stop being so with so much anxiety. People is giving the news and everything is fulfilling our anxiety effect. What I'm saying is step back. We do have tools who help us. No matter how long this is happening, they can help you to go to the next step. Reading faces with masks, how to do body language on videos, how to do a video professionally, how to do a first impression. We don't know when we're going to be shaking hands again. And a handshake is equal to 3 hours of human interaction. The only hormone who happen in handshake and human interaction happen when you're smiling. So if I start a video watching puppies and I'm smiling, the smiling is more contagious than a flu. If you smile, you can make smile a complete room when you smile, and you can make mad a complete room when you're mad. Maybe, but not everybody on the room is going to get your flu. So that's how important smiling and the change need to start with you. Don't expect other people change it. So go study, pay attention. A masked society is not a freak society. If you don't freak out, pay attention to the eyes. The eyes are the soul of the window. It's the reason why they say that.
That is so amazing. And maybe if you have an advice for some of our viewers that might be watching, because we know that some people right now go into state of fear and uncertainty about tomorrow. And what can they do today to kind of, kind of move away, towards to living in the moment and knowing that everything is going to be okay, because we all can support each other and we all can, help each other out.
I'm going to go to, I promise not to go the geeky side, but I'm going to make it simple. They make a horrible experiment, but bear with me. They make people feel fear with t-shirts and sweat. They grab those t-shirts and put it in a bag. And they put control people in a room and they make them smell some of the people, the t-shirts who were wearing when somebody feels fear. Do you know what happened? The people start feeling fear. So fear is contagious. The same way animals can smell it, humans can smell it. So if you have fear, what happened, again, you make a big wave where everybody's fear. Fear is frozen, fight or flight. It happened on nature and happened in human beings. Some animals like possum play dead, so nobody else want to eat them because nobody want to eat some. So that's what happened. So as a society, we're froze, we are mad. I'm not going to go to the political news, but we are mad and we're fighting. That's what is happening with fear. So until we don't stop feeling fear, some people is frozen on the corner of the house without being afraid to leave. We have 25% of people who's agoraphobic, meaning they don't want to leave the house. We have another percentage fighting with everything they shouldn't be fighting, even to grab toilet paper on the supermarket. Other people is like fighting or running. So fear, it's something that paralyzes your mind, your heart, and your evolution. Stop being afraid to everything, because one thing is taking care of you and another thing is being afraid to every person around the world. It's not going to help you. Fly, fear, or fight. That's what happened with fear. So every time that you feel fear, remember, they're going to smell it, they're going to see it, and I don't know how the other person is going to react. Because I'm frozen doesn't mean the other person is not going to fight me. So stop by yourself, not contagion somebody else with fear.
Very interesting. And what advice would you give to bring back this humanity, kindness, and love into the society? And how can we achieve it the fastest way possible?
I think there's so many good brains who can answer that question. They're still going around. The truth to be told is we don't know what is going to happen next week, how we're going to evolve. I would just try to do the best. Try to do the best for the people is in your surrounded. And again, don't try to cure hunger like another continent. When you have kids on the south side of Chicago, they need help. So don't go, it's not going so far away, I do pro bonos on the weekends and I do it on my own time and I enjoy it. So I'm not taking a flight to say, start home. Start making somebody's life better. You don't have the right, if you have the knowledge and it's something that nobody else does, to take it with you. So it would be unfair, and I would be ungrateful if you know something that other people don't know, the same way you can learn from others. Everybody's an expert. You are an expert too. Maybe you're an expert only just making masks. Maybe you're an expert on how to do better disinfecting. How many nurses you find in YouTube showing how to wash your hands? And people say like, oh, no, it's important. They put paint on the hands and they show in like the way we used to wash hands was bad. And people start paying attention and we know how to take care of each other. Why? Because somebody did some simple video online says, that happened when your hands are dirty and you don't wash it right. Like, wow, that was amazing. And it was some nurse, it wasn't the government, it wasn't a company, it was simple a nurse who says like, guys, you don't know how to wash your hands. So that's the way we improve. And the simple step, everybody wants to see the building on the roof. Hey, we need to start on the basement.
Yes, agree. And then, Susan, we also, as part of the program, as we come into the end, we ask each guest about one person that you would like to meet and talk to about Creative Society. And we will ask our audience to pass this video along and use two hashtags, hashtag Creative Society, hashtag ALLATRAunites. We will test the rule of 6 handshakes to see how fast this video can get to the person that you would like to meet. And the rule of 6 handshakes states that we all are connected globally through 5 or less social connections. So Susan, who is that person that you would like to meet and why?
I love to use the Milton theory from the 60s, that everybody's 6 degrees. I love it because it's so true. Okay, my geeky son says, I would love to talk to Kate Welker. He's a PhD. He's the first PhD from the University of Massachusetts, Boston, who made studies proving that you can measure the aggressiveness and how capable a person is for sport and how is going to be a best sport person and how much testosterone that person have on the face based on the white. It's the first time that face reading is being taken to a high level PhD. And I've been afraid to talk to him and contact him because, like, what if he says that he doesn't talk to me? So he's like my idol because he did in PhD everything that I couldn't do. So Kate Welker, if you're watching this, send me an email. I would love to talk to you. He's I don't know how he, under the age of 50, he published so many papers. He published like around 800 papers. It's amazing. I think that person would bring a lot because he can reply from the philosophical and PhD standpoint some of the questions you asked me that I'm not capable to answer.
That's awesome. Yes. Now I would like to meet him too, and we all do our part, and we'll share this video to get to him. And Susan, before we go, is there something that you would like to wish to our audience tonight?
Yes. When they told you that you're different, when they treat you different, and when they tell you that is a problem, I spent years hiding because they told me I'm different. Well, I ended up doing a career being different, and I would have changed one day of my life for being different than other people. That's what started make me happy. I never accept other people's labels. I put my own, and I have fun doing it. So try to have fun, embrace who you are, and being different is awesome. Who want to belong to the crowd? Be different, be yourself, and you're going to start feeling happy every day.
Thank you very much, Susan, for your time and be with us. It was very interesting to hear all your answers and your vision of the world we can make better. Yes, so thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Susan, and thank you for watching us. Till next time. Good night.
Thanks, bye.